Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, we'll just wait for a few more minutes. Just 4 of us.
Yes, bro.
So maybe by in 8:02 or 8:03 we'll start.
No problem. We can start with the Kirtan.
Yeah, maybe. You will do the Kirtan, bro?
Yes, bro.
Yeah. I'll stop the audio. Okay.
Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunja Bihari, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jaya Girivaradhari, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Gopi Janavallabha, Jai Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana,
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana,
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana,
Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana,
Yamuna
Tiravanatari, Jaya Kunja Bihari.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki jai,
Jai.
Samveta Bhakta Vrinda ki jai,
Jai.
Grantaraj Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Hare Krishna. So thank you all devotees for joining today. Welcome you all for Nityam Bhagavat Sevaya. So we'll start today's read from Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, we'll start with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dirayat. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टकी मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहोन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणम्. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 25th chapter, text 39 and 40, 39 and 40 we'll try to read today. So this is 39. So we'll read the verse now. Dharmo hi arthartha kamo cha prajananda amritam yashah loka vishoka viraja yanna kevalino vidu. Dharmo hi arthartha kamo cha prajananda amritam yashah loka vishoka viraja yanna kevalino viduh. Dharmo hi arthartha kamo cha prajanando amritam yashah loka vishoka viraja yanna kevalino viduh. Word by word in translations by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Dharmaha, the religious ritual, he certainly, atra, here, in this grahastha or household life, artha, economic development, kamo, the sense gratification, cha, and praja anandaha, the pleasure of generations, amrutam, the results of sacrifice, yashaha, the reputation, lokaha, the planetary systems, vishokha, without lamentation, virajaha, without disease, yan, which, na, never, kevalinaha, the transcendentalist, viduhu, no. The woman continued, in this material world, a household life brings all kinds of happiness in religion, economic development, sense gratification, and begetting of children, sons and grandsons. After that, one may desire liberation as well as material reputation. The householder can appreciate the results of sacrifice, which enable him to gain promotion to the superior planetary systems. All this material happiness is practically unknown to the transcendentalist. They cannot even imagine such happiness. We'll move on to the purport. According to Vedic instructions, there are two parts of human activities. One is called Pravritti Marga and other is called Nivritti Marga. The basic principle for either of these paths are religious life. In animal life, there is only Pravritti Marga. Pravritti Marga means sense enjoyment and Nivritti Marga means spiritual advancement. In the life of animal and demons, there is no conception of Nivritti Marga, nor is there any actual conception of Pravritti Marga. Pravritti Marga maintains that even though one has propensity for sense gratification, he can gratify his senses according to the directions of Vedic injunction. For example, everyone has a propensity for sex life, but in demonic civilization, sex is enjoyed without restriction. According to Vedic culture, sex is enjoyed under Vedic instructions. Thus, the Vedas give direction to civilized human beings to enable them to satisfy their propensities for sense gratification. In the Nivritti Marga, however, on the path of transcendental realization, sex is completely forbidden. The social orders are divided into four parts: Brahmacharya, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa. And only in the household life can the Pravritti Marga be encouraged or accepted according to Vedic instruction. In the orders of Brahmacharya, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, there are no facilities for sex. In this verse, the woman is advocating Pravritti Marga and discouraging the path of Nivritti Marga. She clearly says that yatis, the transcendentalist who are concerned only with the spiritual life, Kaivalya, cannot imagine the happiness of Pravritti Marga. In other words, the man who follows the Vedic principles enjoys the materialist way of life, not only by becoming happy in this life, but also next life by being promoted to the heavenly planets. In this life, such a person gets all kinds of material opulences, such as sons and grandsons, because he's always engaged in various religious functions. The material distress are birth, old age, disease, and death. But those who are interested in Pravritti Marga holds various religious functions at the time of birth, old age, disease, and death, without caring for the distress of birth, old age, disease, and death. They are addicted to performing the special functions according to the Vedic ritualistic ceremonies. Factually, however, Nivritti Marga is based on sex life, as stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 7:9-45. Yan maitunadi grahamedi sukam hi tucham. A householder who is too much addicted to Pravritti Marga is actually called Grahamedi, not a Grahastha. Although Grahastha desires sense gratification, he acts according to Vedic instructions. The Grahamedi, however, who interested only in sense gratification, does not follow any Vedic instruction. The Grahamedi engages himself as an advocate of sex life and also allows his sons and daughters to engage in sex and to be deprived of any glorious end in life. A Grahastha enjoys sex life in this life as well as in the next, but a Grahamedi does not know what the next life is about because he is simply interested in sex in this life. On the whole, when one is too much inclined towards sex, he does not care for the transcendental spiritual life. In this age of Kali, especially, no one is interested in spiritual advancement, even though it is sometimes found that one may be interested in spiritual advancement. He is most likely to accept a bogus method of spiritual life, being misguided by so many pretenders. We'll read the next sloka also. Then we'll continue. Pitrudevarshri Martyana Bhutanam Atmanaschaha Kshemaya Vadanti Sharanam Bhave Asmin Yad Grahashramaha. Pitar, the forefathers, Deva, demigods, Rishi, sages, Martyanam, the humanity in general, Bhutanam, of infinite living entities, Atmanaha, of oneself, Cha, also, Ha, certainly, Kshemaya, Kshemya, beneficial, Vadanti, they say, Sharanam, shelter, Bhave, in the material world, Asmin, this, Yat, that which, Graha Ashramaha, household life. Translation and published by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Woman continued, according to authorities, the household life is pleasing not only to oneself, but all the forefathers, the demigods, great sages, saintly persons, and everyone else. A household life is thus beneficial. Purport. According to Vedic systems, when one is born in this material world, he has many obligations. He has obligation to the demigods of the sun, moon, King Indra, Varuna, etc., because they are supplying the necessities of life. We receive heat, light, water, and all other natural amenities through the mercy of the demigods. We are also indebted to our forefathers who have given us these bodies: paternal property, intelligence, society, friendship, and love. Similarly, we are indebted to general public for politics and sociology, and we are also indebted to lower animals such as horses, cows, asses, dogs, and cats. In this way, as soon as one is born in this material world as human being, he has so many obligations and is bound to repay all these obligations. If he does not repay them, he is further entrangled in the process of birth and death. The Grahamedi, however, who is overly addicted to material things, does not know that if he simply takes shelter of the lotus feet of Mukunda, he is immediately freed from all this obligation to others. Unfortunately, Grahamedi does not have any interest in Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Jnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militamena Tasme Shri Gurue Namah. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyate Shatarani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So once again, welcome all for this Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, 25th chapter, 39 and 40 verses. So we know the background, how the living entity, the Puranjana story. And here the intelligence, the woman is talking about how Grahasthashrama is good, and she's advocating. Prabhupada in the purport writes how that the intelligence, the woman, is promoting pravritti marga, neglecting completely nivritti marga, completely Grahasthashrama, enjoying, and she's giving all the good part of, how, Grahasthashrama can enjoy. So today, I'll seek your blessings so that we can speak a few words. And what I'm going to discuss today about Grahasthashrama, some points. So this is not this one. This is, I shared some of the presentation prepared by His Grace Harilila Prabhu from Mayapur. And a few weeks before Prabhu was given this presentation in Bangalore, he has kindly shared that with me too. So we can discuss few points today. Of course, Prabhu has said that this is a huge 4-day seminar, but I'll share. And again, I don't have any experience or realization. What we are, spoken here is what Prabhupada has put. We are just reading as Prabhupada said. And of course, later devotees can share their realization. So before getting into that, the few points from Srila Prabhupada's purport. Srila Prabhupada purport writes that in animal life, there is only Pravrti Marga. And he says animal and demons. So those who completely follow Pravrti Marga, they are either animal or demon. That is the mentality of this, kind of people. And also Prabhupada writes here, Pravrti Marga maintains that even though one has a propensity for sense enjoyment, he can gratify senses according to direction of Vedic instructions. So if you go little further, Pravrti Marga allows, sense enjoyment, but if you use as per Vedic instruction, that is Pravrti Marga. Otherwise, completely getting into the, animalistic life or demonic life, that is not even Pravrti Marga. So that is the point Srila Prabhupada says. So enjoy at least within the restrictions, within the guidelines given by the Vedic, Shastras. Also, Prabhupada says that only in the household life the Pravrti Marga can be encouraged or accepted to the Vedic, as per the Vedic instruction. So Prabhupada quotes like other ashramas like Brahmacharya or Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. So the enjoyment of sex is not allowed. But here in Grihastha ashrama is allowed with certain restrictions. So that is the point Prabhupada is making it here. And also Prabhupada says that householder who is too much addicted to Pravrti Marga is actually called Grahamedi and not Grihastha. So what is Grihastha? One who stays in Griha, where the Griha, where Krishna is the center, and all the activities happens in that house, that Griha, which is centered Krishna, and that is the Grihastha, not our sense gratifications. It's Krishna's pleasure. That is what, keep in the center of Krishna. So that's why Prabhupada says that householder also who is completely addicted to Pravrti Marga is actually called Grahamedi. But if he comes to the level of, little control in the Pravrti Marga, then he is called Grihastha, Grihastha. So here in this purport also Srila Prabhupada says, if one does not repay them, so here talks about what debts. So as whoever born in this material world has got certain debts. Prabhupada talks about debts for the demigods, other living entities, lower animals, horse, cats, dogs, and the society. All those debts are there. But one doesn't pay the debt, he is again put into the repeated birth and death. But Srila Prabhupada says in the final word is that, but if one surrenders to Mukunda, he is freed from all the debts. So the devotees, of course, I'm not saying that we should not do other services, but if you take up the service to Mukunda, service to Krishna, 100%, all other debts is already taken care. Like Krishna says in Bhagavata, Sarva Dharma Parityaja Mameka Sharanam Raja Hamta Sarva Papebhya Mokshasham Ashuchaha. He says, if fully surrender to me, then I'll take care of all the sins. I'll take care of all the other things. Same activity here. If you are fully surrendered to Krishna, we don't have to separately perform other activities. Otherwise, all other activities like other, repaying the debts to the other demigods and society, politics, socials, and lower animals is required. So that's the point Srila Prabhupada is making here. So now we'll move on to our few of slides from. We'll try to discuss few points from this. So as here Prabhupada says that the 4 ashramas, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyasa, the aim of all other varnas also, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Shudra, and Vaishya, the aim of the human society, aim of all this 8 is to keep Krishna at the center. The human society all over the world is divided into 4 categories and 4 orders. And each and every one of the ever mentioned divisions of life, the aim must be please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So when Krishna says Chaturvanya Maya Sishta Guna Karma Vibhaksha, is very clear. The purpose is to serve him. That is the purpose. The aim of the dividing it, aim of making these divisions is to serve him. So that the cooperation, coordination between all the 4 plus 2, like, the Varnas and Ashrama, is to serve Krishna. Similarly, coming back to our Grahastha Ashrama, so our aim should be to please Krishna. It's like here the Upanishad says that Yasya deve para bhaktir yata deve tata guru tasyaita katitha ehi artha prakashante mahatmana. The real import of scriptures is revealed to one who has unflinching faith in both Supreme Personality, Godhead, and spiritual master. So as a Grahasthas, of course, here majority are Grahasthas. I don't think any brahmacharis as such, but so we are all in household life. Our the first and foremost, the faith or our the 100% determination that Supreme Lord Shri Krishna is the center, and pleasing the Guru, because we are all have our own incomes, our own way of earning life, and how that is used for the spiritual activities, Krishna conscious activities, as guided by our spiritual master. So our activity should be centered around these two. We should please our spiritual master, and when we please spiritual master, in turn that goes in the hierarchy of Guru Parampara up to Krishna. So that is the mood in which we should work. So like Bhagavata, Krishna says that Tadvidi Panipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam Tattudarshinaha, says that. So the submissive inquiry to our spiritual master, how can I help, you or your Guru, Srila Prabhupada's movement. So that mood, when we go and approach, Krishna is pleased. As Grahasthas, our first and foremost activity should be how to please, our Guru. So here it says the human body, which is in Bhagavatam 11th canto 20th verse, 17th sloka. It says I think Krishna spoke to Uddhava on this. The human body, which can award all benefit in life, is automatically obtained by the law of nature. Although it is very rare achievement, the human body can be compared to the perfectly constructed boat having spiritual master as a captain. The instructions of Personality Godhead as favorable winds, impelling it into its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross ocean of material existence must be considered killer of his own soul. So he says, Sulabam Sudurlabam. Human body is easy to get in the perspective that by naturally you will get human body. After 84 lakhs of species are going through, you get it. Sulabam. But at the same time, Sudurlabam, because if you miss that opportunity, we'll have to wait for another 84 lakh species. How many millions of years, we don't know. So that is why Sudurlabam. That's why the human body, when we are in this human body, we should use that for Krishna's pleasure. And as he said that, as guided by the captain of the ship, the spiritual master, as per his instructions, use this human body, keeping the Krishna at the center. That is the point here in this part, Krishna is saying that. So Srila Prabhupada has many places made it very clear that to practice Krishna consciousness is Krishna should be in the center. Otherwise, it's not possible, because many times what happens that we keep our ego, our sense gratification comes in between. That's why Srila Prabhupada is very clear that every activity in our life should be pleasing to Krishna. So always we say that do what Krishna likes, do not do what Krishna don't like. Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. So this is the point. We are as Grahasthas, so we have to be very careful in our activity, what can be done, what cannot be done. So we have, as a grastas, we have a certain leverage, certain permissions, but that permission should be within the guidelines. So here in one of the purport, 5th canto, 1st chapter, 18th verse, talking about Srila Prabhupada mentions, one who is situated in a household life and who systematically conquers his mind, 5 senses, sense organs, is like a king in his fortress, who conquers his powerful enemies. After one has been trained in household life and his lusty desires have been decreased, he can move anywhere without danger. So what is the danger? Danger again is getting attracted to the senses. So especially the opposite sex, that's the most most dangerous point. That's why grihastha ashrama should be so important, that one who cannot go into the brahmacharya should immediately get into grihastha ashrama, because in getting into brahmacharya and not able to maintain it is more dangerous. And then better come to grihastha ashrama, get protected each other. And in that household life, wife and husband together, we talk about here Brahmaji talking to Priyavrata, that he's saying that the wife or husband is not Maya. I mean, don't get scared. So, but if you cooperate each other, support each other, that is the real protection to each other. So that's the point the Brahmaji is making to Priyavrata. So similarly, in our grihastha life, if each one, husband, wife, protect each other, that is the real protection, not hate each other. Sometime in one of the seminar, Harila Prabhu says that, especially the brahmacharis, we have trained that woman means Maya. They've been trained, or they've been told like that. But when you get into grihastha ashrama, it's not the truth. Of course, in brahmacharya, they should maintain that distance. Of course, also Prabhupada says that woman means that not Maya, in the sense that consider every woman as mother, except his own wife. So with that principle, if you follow, his life is easy. But the problem comes that we are not able to understand, we are not able to realize that, we are not able to practice that. That's where the problem comes. That's why, so here Brahmaji is talking about this, and Prabhupada says, that is the conqueror, the controller of 5 senses and mind, that he is the real king who can go anywhere. There is no danger at all. So, but at the same time, unnecessary mixing, unnecessary association with the opposite sex should be avoided. So that's the point Prabhupada is making here. So we'll read a few more of purports of Srila Prabhupada. This is in 3rd canto, 23rd chapter, 1st verse. Srila Prabhupada writes, the wife is dependent on husband, and if the husband is Vaishnava, then naturally she shares the devotional service of the husband because she renders him service. This is reciprocation of service, and love between husband and wife is the ideal way of household life. So that mutual service, and Prabhupada says, if husband is serving Krishna, just by serving him, wife can get 50% of his credit, whatever devotional credit. So, but at the same time, is Prabhupada says that we should be careful. How do we center that serving him not just for sense gratification? We should serve such a way that he is also engaged in Krishna consciousness. That is the point, he says. So that reciprocation is that Prabhupada talking about here. Both, in turn should serve each other and make the grihastha ashrama more meaningful and more happy. So Prabhupada has given some of practical examples later in this. He says that how husband should give spiritual, emotional, financial support to wife, and at the same time how wife should work as a protector of husband's the senses, and also give him emotional support. So Prabhupada given some of the quotes, we'll read that later. The relationship between husband and wife is firmly established when the wife is faithful and the husband is sincere. Then even if the wife, being weaker, is unable to execute devotional service with her husband, if she is chaste, sincere, she shares half of the husband's activities. So that's a point Srila Prabhupada making, that if husband is able to serve Krishna dedicatedly, just by supporting him, just by helping him, she gets 50% of credit automatically. There is no separate endeavor required. That's the point Srila Prabhupada is making it. So Prabhupada is, said that for a woman, first principal religion is to faithful to her husband, and if fortunately the husband is a great personality, then combination is perfect. So sometime in our material world, we may not get that combination, especially in for devotees also. Sometimes it may not be possible. Like so, at the time of marriage, either we might not have come to Krishna consciousness, or one partner would have come, other partner would not have come. These are possibilities are there. One partner has not taken up Krishna consciousness, other partner advanced, or we both taken up Krishna consciousness later. It's all possibilities are there. But the point is that the adjustment, how we can bring both together, support each other, make both Krishna conscious. Whatever activity you do, keep Krishna at the center. Think, is this will engage him to Krishna service? He will engage her in Krishna service. So that way, if you do it, that makes Grahastha Ashrama perfect and happy. That's what Srila Prabhupada is making here. So we'll move on. Here, talking about in 7th canto, 14th, Narada Muni is talking to Yudhishthira Maharaj about Grahastha Ashram. Here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes, even if one is a householder rather than a brahmachari, a sannyasi, or vanaprastha, one should not endeavor very hard for religiosity, economic development, or satisfaction of senses. Even in the household life, one should be satisfied to maintain body and soul together with whatever is available, with minimum endeavor according to the place and time. By the grace of Lord, one should not engage oneself ugra karma. So here in this particular verse, what we are talking about today, the 4th canto, 25th verse, how the intelligent, the woman, encouraging pravritti marga or the grahastha ashrama, fully enjoying, giving all the positive things, how we can enjoy, with the economic development or dharma, artha, kama, and finally moksha. Everything is possible. This life, next life, she is very, very, positively encouraging. But here, Prabhupada also talks about how, of course, brahmachari and sannyasis, vanaprasthas, they're not able to endeavor, should not work, but grahastha should work. But Prabhupada says that there's no need to ugra karma, there's no need to over endeavor, because that is not good. Like, otherwise what happens, generally what happens, we see that other side of the mountain is always greenery. We think that for a grahastha thinks that a brahmachari is better. Brahmachari thinks that a grahastha is better because he has not experienced, he has not gone through the real part of this part. So, when he comes here, we'll realize the real difficulties or positive or negative. But Srila Prabhupada is saying that, that nothing wrong. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, like whether you are grahastha, whether you are brahmachari, whether sannyasi, doesn't matter. But keep Krishna at the center, then your life is happy, whichever ashrama you are. So that is the same point here. But the point is that just because we are grahastha ashrama, ugra karma, or over endeavoring, working too much, is not good. And we have to have a limit. We have to have a contented life. So that's where the husband-wife makes good combination. Even if the one partner is not supportive, life will become difficult. If other partner has got too much demands or too much desires, then the life will become a difficulty. So like, Nectar of Instruction, Rupa Goswami says, Prajalpo Niyamagraha, Atyahara Prayaschascha Prajalpo Niyamagraha. Atyahara, so that over-endeavoring, accumulating too much, whether it's wealth or name, fame, properties, whatever it is, Atyahara, that should be contended. That should be restricted as much as required. Here Prabhupada says to keep body and soul together. That is the point. But at the same time, Grahasthas can do some help to the society, to the temple, for his spiritual master, so that the whatever he earned is used for Krishna conscious purpose. That will make his life successful. So that is the point Srila Prabhupada is making here. So Prabhupada says, by performing bhakti yoga or devotional service, a man can be raised to a platform of goodness. If a husband situated in a mood of goodness can control his wife, who is passion and ignorance, the woman is benefited, forgetting her natural inclination, passion and ignorance. So again, here Prabhupada quoting from the Puranjana allegory, how the Narada Muni gives the story of Puranjana, how the living entity and intelligence, woman, and living entity, man. So how, the bhakti yoga helps. Of course, later Narada Muni gives the real part of it also. So here Prabhupada says, bhakti yoga, devotional service, man can be raised to platform of goodness. So it's a husband who take up the Krishna consciousness very firmly, strictly, or determined, that can help wife who is chaste and obedient. So that combination makes life successful. Otherwise, there is a possibility. Prabhupada further writes here, the woman becomes obedient, faithful to her husband who is situated in goodness. Such a life becomes very welcome. The intelligence of the man and woman may then work very nicely together. They can make progressive march towards spiritual realization. See Prabhupada how intelligently writes the combination of these two, because each one has got the positive things. When man has got positive, woman has got positive, but that together makes our march towards spiritual realization faster. Otherwise, each one has got a negative also. Man also got negativity, and woman also negativity. That negativity has to be overpowered with the positivity of both. Both should counteract, both should help each other to suppress the negative part of it, the sense enjoyment of the man or the passion and the ignorance of the woman. Both should be counteracted with the positivity of it, and take this to positive things and make life together. That will make the society better. Now go one step further, that the Grahastha ashrama can produce nice children for the future, Krishna conscious children. They can be either future brahmacharis or Grahasthas, whatever it is, but they will be able to give a right Krishna conscious children. So that's why Prabhupada is talking about that combination should work. In this verse, like how the example given here, Kardama Muni, how he explains Dehuti, and later Dehuti's son Kapila explains this to Mother Dehuti. So this is what Prabhupada gives an example, but Prabhupada also gives example of how Kashyapa and Diti, how Kashyapa, could be due to past times, but how Kashyapa could not or stop Diti's demands. That resulted in the demons in Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, whereas Kardama and Dehuti's determined, the Kardama's determined austerity, determined devotional service, and Dehuti's determined service to Kardama, at whatever the cost, at her own health, her own body. That given result to son like Kapila Dev. So this is the result of being husband wife together, serving together. So here a few points where Prabhupada makes that husband or wife is not Maya, but protection against each other. And the relationship between them is based on reciprocation of love and service to Krishna consciousness. Serving the husband or wife is also Vaishnava Seva. For wife, serving her devotee husband is important part of her devotional service. Dharma Artha Kama is Krishna conscious Grasthashrama should be non-contradictory to pure devotional service. So being in Grasthashrama, we may work for Artha, but keep Krishna in the center. Devotional service should be in the center. Krishna conscious Grasthashrama is meant for enjoyment through renunciation of in Krishna consciousness, not sense gratification in Maya consciousness. Prabhupada also says, later we can, time permits, we'll read. He says, Grasthashrama is a tapasya. The tapasya is that how to control the senses. The husband should be qualified to act as instructing spiritual master for wife. They both together progress in Krishna consciousness. So, example again, Prabhupada says, Dehuti served her husband in two ways, Vishwambrena and Gauravena, the two important processes in serving the husband and or the Supreme Personality Godhead. Vishrambhena with intimacy and Gauravena with great reverence. Husband is very intimate friend, therefore wife must render service just like an intimate friend, and at the same time she must be understood. She must understand that husband is superior in position, and thus she must offer him all respect. Of course, I'm not saying this, Prabhupada says. Okay, Prabhupada in the 4th canto, 4th chapter, 3rd verse, Prabhupada says that according to Vedic conception of family life, husband gives half of his body to his wife. The wife gives half of her body to her husband. In other words, husband without a wife or wife without husband is incomplete. We call Dharma Patni Adhagni. So Shastra says husband is half of the body is given to wife, and also wife's half of the body is given to husband. So the point is that they join together becomes one. That is the point. So when they serve together with one aim, one intention that pleasing Krishna is our main aim. Like we started our discussion, our aim of being Grasthashrama is to keep Krishna in the center. When Krishna in the center of the house, everything becomes centered to Krishna. Our service, our activities, everything is towards that. That becomes our house becomes happy. That is a real sacrifice. That's a real charity. There is real samskara happens within that. When that happens, there is no difficulties. There is no difference between good wife and good intelligent. Here, the intelligent, the woman talks to living entity. How great is Grasthashrama is that. So that's a real good wife, is intelligent. Because man will have a certain weakness. The intelligent is the woman who is controlling or who is guiding emotionally and spiritually, in the right perspective. That's why the both combination has to work together. Woman is like a fire, man is like a butter. But if one gets a chaste wife accepted through the religious marriage ritual, she can be great help when one threatened by the many dangerous situations. What are dangerous situations? Again, is that the attraction to opposite sex. Many people we see, many great personalities in the society who are not taken up Krishna consciousness, how they fall down, how they end up in a disastrous situation. We have so many examples because they don't have support each other, because the man gets entrapped with the opposite sex outside the marriage and they gets into trap. Either they fall down or they get killed by the others or they put into jail. So many things happens. Is because the mutual support is not there. That is the reason wherever possible, husband wife should work together. Husband wife should stay together. The staying separate for whatever reason, money reason, service reason, should be avoided. Whatever difficulty, how like when Lord Ram is going to forest, Mother Sita, she said, I'm coming with you. Whatever difficulties. So same way, wherever it is possible, stay together. Especially for devotees, when we do preaching also go together. That makes a lot different and lot of protection. Otherwise, in the name of service, we may end up getting into trouble, especially dealing with the other opposite sex. So that is where the protection helps. So that's why Prabhupada says, actually, such a wife can become source of all good intelligence. With such a good wife, the family's engagement in the devotional service of the Lord actually makes the home grahastha ashrama or household dedicated to spiritual cultivation. So Prabhupada gives some of the don'ts and what can be done, what cannot be done. In the later part, possible we'll try to discuss that, how much time permits. Otherwise, we'll see. So we always speak about goodness of fortune as being placed in the chest of Narayana. In other words, wife must remain embraced by her husband, then thus she becomes beloved and all protected. The place is the chest of husband. Like Prabhupada gives example of how when Brugumani came and kicked Lord Vishnu, how Mother Lakshmi got angry because that's her place. So that's where the chest of the husband, the mind or the heart has to be controlled by wife. How do we control? How she controls? Of course, Prabhupada given some of the tips. We can talk if time permits, otherwise majority will know. So just as one saves his money and places it under his own personal protection, one should similarly protect his wife by his own personal supervision. So this is the duty of an husband. Always guide, always work as a protector of husband and the wife, and wife works as a protector of his senses. So that and intelligence, that combination should work. So that's why Prabhupada says, just as intelligence is always within the heart, so the beloved chaste wife should always have her place in the chest of a good husband. There is a proper relationship between husband and wife. Wife is therefore called Ardhangini, or half of the body. So that is how the combination works. A family man often acts like a lord, protecting his wife, ordering his children, maintaining servants, grandchildren, domestic animals, so forth. So the verse na prapadyante kutumbi api indicates that although one acts like a little lord surrounded by his family, servants and friends, one should not, Prabhupada says, one should not get entrapped. So being the leader of the house, he may have little overpower, little control, but that should not be misused. Prabhupada gives example how the man should not get carried away with that controlling power. Little controlling power is given. So that should be used in a right, perspective. So Chanakya sloka is the moral instruction. Chanakya Pandita, it said that if a husband and wife are always satisfied in one another, then goddess of fortune automatically comes in. So mutual understanding and mutual satisfaction is most important. Contented with what we have. And also he says in other words, where there is no disagreement between husband and wife, all material opulence is present, good children are born. So Chanakya is saying, where there is a difference of opinion, where is a disagreement, where is argument, the Lakshmi cannot stay in that house. There's a possibility of, that's Chanakya Pandita points here. So generally, according to Vedic civilization, wife is trained to satisfy in all conditions, and husband is, according to Vedic instruction, is required to please wife with sufficient food, ornaments, and clothing. So the duty of husband, duty of wife, Srila Prabhupada in the purport in 4th canto, 1st chapter, 6th verse, Prabhupada gives how both should be content with each other, and at the same time giving the protection, giving the financial needs, gives the the basic ornaments and clothings, and the wife's duty is to take care of his intelligence and his sense control. We'll read few of other slides. Of course, if the husband is a great as Kardamuni, then very good result accrues from following him. But even if the husband is not great devotee like Kardamuni, it is wife's duty is to adopt herself according to mentality that makes married life very happy. So here again, as mentioned here, His Grace Harila Prabhu talks saying that husband, if he's like Kardamuni, yes, he can demand. But if he's not Kardamuni, he cannot demand. But Prabhupada says wife should adopt, so that it makes Grahastha Ashrama more happy. But if other side, Kashyapa and Diti, that situation we should not go into that. That's where Krishna conscious practice comes. That's why the preaching of Krishna conscious practice comes in. That's why the senior Grahasthas, how they train, how they educate junior Grahasthas, because many of us maybe we were not in Krishna conscious when it came to Grahastha Ashrama. We were not aware of it, not knowing. So now it becomes our duty is to educate, and educate in right perspective. Not that make scare or give the negative part of it. There is a very good positive, because our life, our aim is to go back to Krishna. That's what aim is. So make that aim perfect. Otherwise, if one of the partner goes away from the scriptures, both will fall down, and our aim of the life will be failed. We will not achieve the what real aim of the human body, human life. That is a point we have to understand. We as practicing devotees, we always should understand how we can progress in our bhakti. So Prabhupada further says, we'll read a few more slides, then we'll stop. However, relationship between husband and wife without spiritual consciousness, but strictly for sense gratification, is not at all good. It is said that Srimad Bhagavatam, that especially in this age of Kali Yuga, Dampatye Abhiruchir Hetuhu. So that sense gratification alone will take us back to hell. So we are to do that tapasya, do that little control on the senses. That will help us to read. So there are very interesting, one should note. Ajayudhe Muni Shraddhe Prabhate Megadhampare Dampatide Kalahe Chaiva Bambarambe Lagukriyaha. So here Prabhupada quoting this, he says that the fight between husband and wife is like two goats are fighting. They fight so rigorously. Prabhupada says if somebody claps, they run away. Similarly, the difference opinion or disagreement should be like that, should be closed as early as possible. Otherwise, there is more dangerous. So Prabhupada talks about, of course, in India, the quarrel between husband and wife, nobody cares. Nobody takes very seriously. The husband may complain, wife may complain. Everyone says, yes, that's all right. It will be all right. They will never go to the court for divorce, you see. But it is, there is no seriousness. That is a Vedic understanding. But today, if you see in the material world, divorce is happening left and right. Even in practice in devotees, it's happening. So that's why understanding Srila Prabhupada's mood, understanding Srila Prabhupada books is most important. Once we understand that and practice in right perspective, our life becomes more successful. Difference opinion can be there. Prabhupada quotes how Sati was not agreeing with the Lord Shiva. She wanted to go to her father's house, Daksha's house. There is possibilities, difference opinion possibilities there. But Prabhupada says that wife should not leave under the shelter of husband, because once leaves, there's a danger. So how Mother Sati, when left Shiva, that all calamities happened. Had she listened to Lord Shiva, maybe that pastime would not happen. But point is that the Srila Prabhupada making that we should always under control of husband. So we'll end with this point. Then Prabhupada gives in some places together. He says the four essential of Krishna Grahastha Ashrama: chanting together, possible husband wife together And honoring prasadam together, this is the most important. This is where the most of the discussion can happen, sharing can happen possible. Reading together, and worshipping deity together. To be honest, I'm not practicing any of this, but this is what Harilala Prabhu has put. I'm sharing that so that one day I will also practice. That's my sincere, desire. So finding common interest in Krishna conscious, right formula for healthy life. So when you care about spouse sadhana, and reciprocation is automatic. Caring spouse gets more service from a partner than demanding spouse. So with this, we'll end here. So we'll see any comments, any feedback. So just to conclude, how Grasthashrama works is that caring each other, and wife controlling husband's intelligence or senses, and how husband is being spiritually advanced, taking care of wife's the passion and ignorance, and that combination together works, keeping Krishna in the center, makes Grasthashrama successful. That Grasthashrama can produce good children in society, Krishna conscious children in society, who can take further Krishna conscious society. So keeping senses in the control can become disaster. So with this, we'll end here. Om Tassat, Hare Krishna. If devotees want to share anything, please share of any questions. If I can answer, I'll try.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you very much for the wonderful session on the importance of Grihasthashram, and many wonderful and practical points that you shared from your realizations and also from what you've heard. Devotees can unmute themselves to share any reflections, or if they have any questions, please ask Prabhuji.
I think Shweta Mataji has written a question directly here. It said, how to accept and endure if the partner is not into Krishna consciousness, doesn't serve the duties. So just to on this, I'll narrate one particular incident with my Guru Maharaj. It was happened maybe a few years before in Abu Dhabi. So one morning we were there with the Guru Maharaj. That time when Mataji came and pointed this point only, say that I want to do service. My husband, not into inclination to Krishna consciousness. So Guru Maharaj first looked at the Yatra leader. He said that, what are you doing? What are you doing? The Mataji husband. So what activity, what encouragement you have done him to bring into Krishna consciousness? So that is, as a yatra, as a temple, we should bring husband wife together. That is the point he made. That then he told Mataji that so serve nice Krishna prasad, chant extra rounds possible, pray to Krishna sincerely that he also comes. So these are the two activities. So wife can win husband's heart with the food. That's a general formula. And of course, sincere prayers. This can help, But because the man has got a different mentality, man has got little logical thinking, ego thinking, that is there. So if you have to win, we have to win through love only, not with argument. That is the point my Guru Maharaj told. So maybe that will be my response.
Hare Krishna, Prasadeshwar, Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much for wonderful insight in the practical aspects of Grihasthashram and how husband and wife can be together in
It's not mine, Prabhu. It's Harilala Prabhu has compiled.
Yes, Prabhuji, but we also see your practical wisdom as well. Thank you. It was wonderful class, Prabhuji. To just add on what you mentioned to Swati Mataji, I think it's really true that prayer helps a lot. So actually, in our daily prayer, if you include the message, our wish to the Lord, like in case of Mataji, if she includes that message, if she petitions Krishna, Gauranga on daily basis, and Krishna is more than happy to bring back all the people to his association. So why not a family member of a devotee? So
True.
that will certainly happen, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhuji, for that.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Prabhu. Wonderful class.
Thank you.
Very nice realizations and points you brought out. There's multiple times you reminded of keeping Krishna in center, and also I was reminded yesterday's Indraduna Maharaj class where he told the protection. I think you also brought out that point about protecting means not only beyond physical and material needs, but also protecting from illusion. So I just reminded of that. Just since we are experience, you mentioned multiple times. Of course, this is an ongoing thing, but on the aspect of Atyahara, where to draw the line. You are in that field, so taxes is a reality of life. Inflation is a reality of life in today's times and in city life. So how something practically from your, if you can share some things, how we can work towards saying enough, this is enough. One is, of course, we hear surrendering, having faith that Krishna will provide. These are ongoing efforts to build, increase our faith in Krishna's protection. But also as a responsible grahasthas, we need to plan and not take, so that's where I wanted to just hear your thoughts on that.
So just one first point, as you rightly said, whatever we are destined will get. Certain things, if over enduring, we may not get. That's the point we need to understand that. Of course, definitely as a grahasthas or anybody should do our duty perfectly, do your work perfectly, and of course Prabhupada has given that the cutoff point for a grahastha to get into vanaprastha is 50 years, but depending upon the situation, he can little flexible up to 55 or because in one place Prabhupada says son should reach the age of 25. So that's where he can earn and he can maintain, that's one. And other point of planning, yes, we should plan, keeping the Krishna in the center again, that's the point. And whenever we do something, reciprocate or express our desire to Krishna. Yes, Krishna, I'm doing this, I'm planning this, and share this, and definitely you get reciprocation from Krishna. That is my experience, and many of the seniors have said. Because when we share, and because I've seen in my own experience, many times I plan something, I don't get that. I don't, I get the symptoms that no, it's not going to happen. Then once, twice, third, leave it up. Do something which is keeping the Krishna in the center. That helps a lot. Of course, the money also, investment also, we should be very, very careful not to over endeavor, not get into too much. There are people, thinking that I'll earn so much quickly. If you get into that, we'll get trapped. So go safe, suppose investing also, go safe, simple, straightforward method that will help keep your life perfectly together. That's what my immediate response could be.
Yeah, thanks, Prabhu. I think your point about one is having that as sincere desire. I heard this from Sankarshan Nitya Prabhu from Mayapur as well. Once I had expressed to him on this, because we keep hearing this. He told we should have, if you have sincere desire, Krishna will arrange for that circumstance to happen. Also, your point about sharing your desire with some seniors to get feedback, I think valid point. I will take that. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu. If nobody is there, we can end.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you again, once again for your time. We'll conclude with Vaishnava pranams.
Sure.
वाञ्छा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्त वृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद
प्रभुपाद
की
की
जय। और जय हरि हरि।
जय।